Dorothea Dix was born on April 4th, 1802 in Maine. She was then raised in Massachusetts by her grandmother because her father was an alcoholic and her mother suffered from depression.
In about 1821, Dorothea opened a school in Boston, which was patronized by well-to-do families. Soon afterward, she began teaching poor and neglected children, but she suffered from poor health and was forced to leave it. Between 1824 to 1830, she wrote books devoted to the children that she taught. In 1831, she established a model school for girls in Boston, operating until 1836. The school then failed when she had more health problems.
In hopes of finding a treatment, she traveled to England in 1836. In England, she was introduced to the Rathbone family. They were Quakers and prominent social reformers. In Greenback, England, Dorothea met many men and women who believed the government should play an active and direct role in social welfare. She was also introduced to the reform movement for the care of the mentally ill in Great Britain. In the movement, people were taking a deep look at the madhouses and asylums.
This interested Dorothea heavily because of her past history with her depressed mother and alcoholic father. After her newfound interest with the topic of the mentally ill, she returned to America in 1841 to begin her most notable work.
She began to conduct a statewide investigation in Massachusetts of the care for the insane. In most cases, towns contracted with local individuals to care for the mentally ill people who could not care for themselves and also lacked care by family and friends. Because this system was unregulated and underfunded, this system resulted in widespread abuse. Dorothea published these findings in a report to the state legislature.
She wrote in this report, "I proceed, gentlemen, briefly call your attention to the present state of insane persons confined in the Commonwealth, in cages, stalls, and pens, chained, naked, beaten with rods, and lashed into obedience."
Her lobbying resulted in a bill to expand the state's mental hospital in Massachusetts.
During the year of 1844, Dorothea visited all of the counties and jails in New Jersey in a similar investigation. She prepared another report for the New Jersey legislature like she had previously done in Massachusetts. She gave a detailed account of her observations and facts, finding that they also suffered from neglect. She urgently appealed the legislature to act and appropriate funds to construct a facility for the care and treatment of the insane.
She emphasized the importance of the state taking responsibility for this class of unfortunates. Joseph S. Dodd introduced her report to the Senate on January 23, 1845, and it passed the following day. Dorothea continued to lobby for the facility, writing letters and editorials to build support. The act of authorization was taken on March 25, 1845, and her bill for the establishment of the state facility passed on March 25, 1845.
She then traveled to Louisiana and again documented the condition of the poor insane. She made reports to the state's legislature and worked with committees to draft the enabling legislation and appropriational bills needed. From there, in 1846, she traveled to Illinois to study mental illness further. She submitted a report in 1847 to the legislation to establish the first state mental hospital.
In 1848, she traveled to North Carolina, where she again called for the reform in care of the mentally ill patients.
She was very instrumental in founding many of the state's first hospitals for the mentally ill. The culmination of her work was the Bill for the Benefit of the Insane, legislation to set aside 12,225 acres of federal land to use for the benefit of the insane.
Dorothea's land bill passed both houses of the United States Congress, but in 1854, President Franklin Pierce vetoed it.
She was superintendent of Army nurses during the American Civil War. She set guidelines for the nurse candidates.
Overall, Dorothea Dix was such an important figure in the 1800s because of her strong presence in making reforms to help the mentally ill. Before her, they were treated very poorly and were treated like animals. This was also very impressive because as a woman, she had a very strong influence in a male-dominated time period.
She died July 17, 1887 in Trenton, New Jersey because of malaria.